morning and welcome back to Piston Broke with me, Jim, and Dotty, our 1977 Project Midget. So today we've got a bumper issue for you. What? Sorry? Oh, sorry, I misread the script. We've got an issue with the bumpers. So a couple of little jobs that I want to tackle this morning. One is to try and remove some of the pitting from the chrome plating. So those of you that might remember is that Dotty was originally a rubber bumper midget, and at some point she's been converted to chrome bumper using, I think, probably either second-hand bumpers or at least some that maybe the quality of the chrome wasn't quite as good as it could have been. So the bumpers are quite heavily pitted, and following a little bit of research online, I found out about this product which is called Barkeeper's Friend, and it's a powdered cleaner. It's designed for the hospitality industry, for cleaning countertops, kitchen equipment, and beer dispensing pumps. So we're going to have a little go and just see if we can remove some of the staining. So with a little damp cloth, we'll pop that onto the bumper there, and you can already see, without too much effort actually, it's really starting to lift off all of that pitting, the rust streaking now. Traffic film and so on. Now I know obviously the rust streaking will come back, so this is going to have to be a regular thing, but it will certainly improve the look of the bumpers compared to where they were. So in no time at all really, that's starting to lift off all of that kind of traffic film, dead bugs, and as I say, rust streaking. So give that a little bit of a wipe over with a cotton cloth. And wow, I'm really pleased with that. That's really brought up the shine. The bumper feels a lot smoother. It's got rid of all of those kind of rust streaks. So I think I'll give it a little go over just with a bit of metal polish on top of that, just to make sure that we really kind of get a good shine in. But actually I think you can see in there quite a good reflection, so I think that's made a huge improvement. So all I need to do now is work my way around all the rest of the chrome on Dotty and give them all a polish up. I'm just glad at this point that she's not a Cadillac or a Chevrolet. The other issue that I want to deal with, I don't know if you can see it down here again, when the bumpers have been replaced at some point, somebody's fitted rather ugly looking hex head bolts holding the bumpers on. Now originally they would have been a dome headed like a coach bolt, a chrome plated coach bolt, but these inner ones here, which have been replaced already, are a socket headed button screw, and I actually think that looks quite nice. It kind of goes for the sort of the kind of the cafe racer look that we're looking for. So I managed to source some of these online, and these are 90mm socket headed button screws. They're an M10, so they should be hopefully a direct replacement for what we've got on here. So putting socket on the nylock nut that's on the inside, we'll take this off. And we'll replace them with the headed screws. There we go. So pop that bolt out. Give the hole a little bit of a clean up just to get rid of any grime that was trapped under the bolt. Slide that back through the spacer. And refit the original spreader washer and a new nylock nut. And the other thing I like about it is the old bolts were a little bit overlong, so they're actually stuck into the front wheel arch by about 1.5 inches, which looked a little bit ugly. So these ones are going to be a much flusher finish, flusher fit when they're on. nearly forgot, you can't do those up with a nut because they've got a hex bit in them. So I've got my Allen key here. Nice and tight, and a much smoother, neater finish, which is not going to catch anybody's knuckles when they try and clean the car. So I'm going to go for a lie down and some more coffee before I tackle the back bumpers. See you in a bit. Okay, so I've moved on to Dotty's back bumper now. We've got a couple of issues here that we need to look at on the bumper. So the first is that, for those of you who remember, that Dotty was originally a rubber bumper car. She's been converted to chrome bumper using, I think, a pair of second-hand bumpers. Now the front one, as you saw, polished up really well. That's come up like new and not caused us too much of a problem. Part of the issue comes with the rear bumper. Rubber bumper rear wings are a slightly different shape to the chrome bumper one. So a rubber bumper rear wing has this sort of tapering section under the light here, which goes down and blends into the wing sort of under here. Whereas Dotty, we've got a bit more of a step on the wing there. The bumper has been bolted too close to the bodywork of the car, which has caused the bumper to rub on the back wing here. You can see a little bit of an unsightly scar. So my plan is to make up some spacers that will space the bumper away from the back of the car, give us a little bit of clearance here. We're then going to need to carry out a bit of a paintwork repair. So I've put some rust killer on there, and what I'll do is sand it down, prime, and then we'll attempt to blend in the paintwork under the back wing there, just to try and tidy things up a little bit. Part of the issue also is that the rear plate, the plating on the rear bumper is in very poor condition. So I've polished the bumper. The overriders come up like new, like the front one, but the back bumper, particularly along here, is quite badly pitted. So I've looked into a couple of options. One was having this bumper re-chromed. One quote that I had for re-chroming came in at almost £300. New bumpers are only about 240, so it would make more sense just to replace the bumper. Appreciate older original bumpers, it's probably thicker steel, possibly a little bit better quality chrome plating when it's been done as an aftermarket, so there's probably pros and cons to both. I had a talk with Matt about it, and he decided that actually the bumper is not that bad. As he said, you can't see the bumper when you're driving the car. So our plan is that we're going to make up some spacers, as I said, space the bumper away, we'll give it a clean up, but we'll leave the bumper as it is without replacing it. And maybe we'll have a look at a show later on in the year, see if we can pick up a good second-hand bumper. If anybody happens to have a spare rear chrome bumper for an MG Midget that they would like to pass on to us for a reasonable price, or maybe even to donate to the cause, by all means please do get in touch in the channel, drop us a comment on the link below. We'd very much like to hear from you. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is remove the bumper, carry out some treatment to some rust repair on there, and then I'll make up some little spacers using some steel tube. We'll give that a paint. I'll show you how we do that in a moment, and then I'll reattach the bumper, and hopefully we can improve this and get the bumper away from the back wing at this point here. Okay, so I've removed the rear bumper from Dotty and the original spacers, which turned out to be manufactured from bits of plastic tubing and rubber hose. What we want to try and do is move the bumper back a little bit. So I'm thinking a spacer around about 50mm is going to be the sort of length we want. Now, ideally, I would have liked to have welded these up from some steel tube and washers, or had them welded up, but I don't have the facility, the resources to be able to do that. So I've had a look around the workshop to see what I can come up with. And what I'm going to try is a piece of copper tube with a washer on each end. And we'll fix that in place with some epoxy. Now, I'm not quite sure how this is going to work long term, so this is a little bit of a trial and error, shall we say, to build it up and see whether it's going to be suitable for what we need. If it isn't, then I'm going to have to look at trying to find an engineering shop somewhere that can manufacture some spacer pieces for us. So I've cut my tube with a washer at each end. So it's a 50mm tube, a little bit of, with the washer thickness over the top, is going to run out of about 55 to 56mm, which I think will be absolutely fine for what we need. So I'm going to mix up some rapid setting epoxy, and we'll have a go at gluing them up and see what happens. So just mixing up equal parts of epoxy here on a bit of scrap. It's good to wear gloves because this is horrible stuff when it gets on your hands. And using a matchstick stolen from the kitchen, we'll give that a mix up till we get a nice uniform colour. So I'll put the spacer tube onto the washer. Spacer there, and we'll just go in and check the tubing is upright, because nobody wants a wonky spacer. So we'll add the second spacer to the top of that, and then we'll give it a little bit of time for that to cure. So I'll enjoy a cup of tea while we're doing that. Okay, so that seems to have glued up quite well now. We've given that a couple of hours to set, and that all looks pretty good. So what we're going to do now is to paint it. So just hopefully you can still hear me okay. And so first thing we're going to do is we'll give it a coat of just a rattle can etch primer. Just help to hope the top coat will grip a little bit better. Pop it on that so I can get all the way around it. So I'll let that set up, then I'll turn it over, give it another coat of primer just to catch the bits that I couldn't quite reach, and then we'll go with some satin black. Okay, so the spacers have had a good chance to dry now. We've given it an extra coat of etch primer over the top, so now I'm going to give it a coat over with some satin black aerosol, and then we'll let that dry and we're ready to refit. Okay, so I've now finished the spacers. It's had a good couple of coats of satin black and plenty of time to dry. So what we're going to do now is take these back out to the car and refit the rear bumper. So we've got the bumper fitted back on now. I'm just going to tighten up the bolts. There we go. So the bumper's all bolted back up now. The centre of the bumper is now level. Previously the bumper was kind of tipped downwards. We've now got a space of about 25mm, about an inch, between the corner of the bumper and the back wing. Okay, so here's the bumper spacer that you saw me make earlier on in the video. So we've given that a good spray up with some satin black paint. We've now fitted it to the bumper with new M10 bolts, as I say, socket-headed bolts, nuts and nylock nuts just to hold everything together. Bumper's nice and solid. As I say, top of the bumper here, you can see the damage to the plating on there, but we've now got a little bit of a gap. Top of the bumper is now level. Most importantly, if I come around at the side here, you can now see there's a gap of about 25mm, an inch, between the back bumper and the back wing. Obviously we have got to do a little bit of localized paint repair, which you can just see on the corner here, but we'll tackle that in a separate bit of a video. For now, I think I'm going to call that part of the project completed.